Hey guys, what's going on? It has come to my attention that a game ends, you talk about a bunch of things, you think what you think, and then you see what other people think. And it's come to my attention that I have a significant disagreement with what appears to me to be a majority of people on one of the things that happened in the 49ers game. There was some talk about this, and I talked about it a little bit on the show right after the game on Thursday night, but it really this has become a big talking point for a lot of people who believe that Kyle Shanahan force-fed Deebo Samuel in the Niners loss on Thursday night, and that he did it to the detriment of the team. I fundamentally disagree with two things. The first thing I fundamentally disagree with is that he, quote unquote, force-fed Deebo. Now, we could debate how do we define that, so we'll try to do that. And then the second thing is that he did it to the detriment of the team. Okay. Deebo Samuel had 7 targets and 2 carries. So he had 9 targets or touches. The Niners ran 53 offensive plays on Thursday night. So Deebo had 17% of the opportunities to touch the football. The 49ers on offense got the ball or tried to get the ball to George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, Isaac Guerendo, Ricky Pearsall, Deebo Samuel, 5 players. Deebo got 17% of that. So now Guerendo, he's a running back, is going to get a lot. George Kittle had 7 targets. You could argue, I would argue, everybody would argue, I wish George Kittle got the ball more. But they threw to George a couple times. Twice I thought there should have been a pass interference. It's not like that was always working. Juwan Jennings got 9 targets. Does that mean they were force-feeding Juwan Jennings? Of course not. Isaac Guerendo got plenty of touches as a running back and 4 targets as a pass catcher, and Ricky Pearsall got 4 targets. So fundamentally, the numbers do not support any evidence that Kyle Shanahan was, quote unquote, force-feeding Deebo Samuel. Now, what I've seen when I argue with people about this on the internet, as I like to do, 2 things get brought up. One, on the 49ers' second series, they ran the ball on 3rd and 6 with Deebo. It got a yard, or it got 2 yards, and they had to kick a field goal. The other thing that people bring up, or has been brought up to me, is that they threw to him on the first play of the game. Okay, so those are the 2 things that people have said. Despite the numbers saying to me, force-fed means you are giving the player the ball. This would be my definition. You are forcing the ball to somebody, sometimes to the detriment of the team, and even when the evidence is it doesn't work. Well, Deebo got 2 carries. It wasn't working. They stopped doing it. So to me, that's not force feeding. 3rd down and 6. Didn't like the call. You don't like the call. Nobody liked the call. It failed. And giving it to Deebo on 3rd and 6 wasn't really the failure. Just running the ball fundamentally was the failure. I mean, Deebo had the 2-yard carry. Isaac Guerendo to that point had carried the ball 3 times. He'd gone for 1 yard. He'd gotten for 1 yard. He'd gone for 3 yards. So that wasn't working either on the first 2 series. But I didn't like it. Okay, fine. 1 play to me is not evidence of force feeding, and that seems to be a fundamental difference with people. He threw him the ball on the first play of the game. So what Kyle should have gone out of his way to I'm not going to give Deebo the ball because Deebo tweeted, and I'm not going to reward Deebo for his immaturity by throwing him the ball in the first play of the game. Maybe that's what some people are intimating. Look, I read you the guys who had targets: Kittle, Jennings, Pearsall, Deebo, Guerendo. You know who got the second touch of the game? Guerendo. Does that mean Kyle would rather give the ball to Guerendo than Kittle? Or that he doesn't think Juwan Jennings matters? Of course not. I mean, Deebo Samuel had 5 carries against the Bears. I didn't hear anybody saying after the Bears game Deebo was force-fed. Everyone was claiming that Kyle was in his bag, except for me. I was like, no, nothing has changed. Okay? This is a guy that's 3rd on the team in touches, and Jordan Mason is 1st. So among the players that were active for the game on Thursday, he's 2nd behind Guerendo. And 9 targets or touches is force feeding? It's not. The other thing about this is, it's the force feeding part I want to address. The other part of this is there's a difference between trying to get him the ball and trying too hard to get him the ball. And I think one of the problems with Deebo is that the way to get him the ball that has worked in the past, they're not particularly explosive now because he doesn't get the ball downfield. He gets the ball in a crowd and then he makes some plays. And he is not making the plays. Kyle Shanahan had some bad calls. He had some really good calls. He had Deebo open over the middle of the field twice. Deebo dropped one on a perfect throw from Purdy. Purdy underthrew one, and the defense was able to recover and make a play and prevent a completion. So was Shanahan not supposed to call those plays, or he was only supposed to call the plays that works? I mean, that's the ideal. But I get the sense that some people like secretly wanted to win the game without Deebo getting any touches, to prove to him that he's not as important as he thinks he is, which is crazy. You know, there's an old saying for that: cut off your nose to spite your face. Like, as a coach in a desperation situation, you can't ice out one of your best players. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the idea of saying that Deebo is one of their best players. For better or worse, he is one of their best players on offense. He gets a ton of targets. Now, you might think it's too many. That's fine. But the crux of the argument that I find myself in is that yesterday, Kyle Shanahan did it because he was trying to appease Deebo Samuel and overcorrected. I think Kyle Shanahan did it because he understood and understands he's got very limited options here. He can't afford to not have Deebo Samuel engaged and, more importantly, actually contributing to their team. This is not a team that had to win one game. This is a team that had to win one game, and they had to beat the Dolphins, and then they had to beat the Lions, and then they had to beat the Cardinals, and they needed help. So he couldn't get through this season without getting this guy going. You see it in basketball a lot where a shooter's not shooting it well. You run a couple plays for him, try to get him going. The idea that he threw him the ball on the first play of the game, I think bothers people because it's I think it gets interpreted as Kyle's way of saying, Deebo, I need you. Which he does. He does need Deebo. He threw him the ball on the first play. I need you. Let's get this baby rolling. It'll be an 8-yard play. People won't boo you, and you'll start believing in yourself and in this offense, and we're going to get rolling. You can ignore the fact that people are humans, or you can accept it and work with them. That's not rewarding whining. That's called managing personalities. He threw George Kittle the first ball last week, or Juwan Jennings the week before that. Is that some evidence that he's trying to make some grander point? The idea that the coach identifies that he needs Deebo is an accurate identification. It's true. But people put so much on every Kyle play call and every Deebo opportunity because everyone's frustrated. Like, I don't want to be in like right now, there's no defending Kyle. I'm not defending Deebo, defending the season. It's all been bad. It's like Kyle's got to take a hard look at some things this offseason and get better. There's no doubt. I didn't want defending anything on December 13th after that loss on Thursday night. They didn't score a touchdown. But to me, there's a truth in pointing out the fact that handing him the ball on 3rd and 6, a bad play call, but the evidence is just not there that it's like he had a better play call in mind, but he'd rather give it to Deebo here. He thought he was going to catch him off guard and it was going to work. It failed. Bad idea. But force feed, 9 touches, 2 carries. It's the 9th time this year that Deebo's had 2 carries. 9 times. Kyle's trying to get this guy going. But there's like this thing out there today that, he was bullied. Deebo bullied their boys, and Deebo kind of, essentially alphaed his way into bullied Kyle by complaining. And so Kyle's trying to make his guy feel good. Well, I mean, he is trying to make his guy feel good. He needs him. But force feed because he threw him the first ball of the game? I mean, it was a good play call. It was open. Catch the ball, bro. The failure was Deebo not being ready to take advantage of the fact that his coach was going to give him every opportunity he's given him before. And to me, that's the difference. Deebo Samuel didn't get any opportunities on Thursday night that Kyle Shanahan hasn't given him a million times before. But they're just getting viewed through a different lens. I get it. Everyone's frustrated and mad at Deebo. But to be able to reduce it to a play call here or a play call there. He threw him the ball. It was a good play. Kyle scripts his first 20 plays. He wants plays that work. It was a good play. Deebo didn't make the play. He didn't make the play. Anyway, so there's that. No, he did not throw it. He threw to Deebo first on Witherspoon. Good matchup. I like that matchup. Comment: they lack personnel regardless of who the ball was being thrown to or handed to. This team has had too many injuries, drama, talent regardless. Time to move on. Hey, check out Prize Picks, code guy. Use the code guy, make a $5 lineup, get $50 immediately into your account. Thanks for the sponsorship of this video. Prize Picks is awesome. I'll be playing it this weekend. Hope you will too. Appreciate